Is this the Dr. Ray?
What are you asking me?
Are all people mentally ill?
I have no idea.
Boy, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Now, why would I say something so dumb?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I don't remember what I said.
You're always contagious, by the way.
Am I really that awful?
I don't care. I'm not concerned with that stuff.
And I guess that's true, but doggone.
As usual, you're doing all the talking.
Well, are you better than God?
No way.
I'm going to give you some bad news. You got a problem.
I just wanted to call and get some wise advice, hopefully.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
That hopefully kills me every time I hear it. Hopefully. Kind of like I'm taking a shot at it. Possibility equal to sinking a putt from here to Jupiter. You get some wise advice. Hopefully. If you call in, hopefully, maybe I can. What about the lady who says you are contagious? I know. I like that. I know, like an infection. Like an infliction. In an affliction, something like that. Okay, let's see what we got here. Well, I can't take care of that, so we'll take care of this. The number is 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call if you'd like to get onto the program. For me to get onto the program took a lot more. Oh, yeah. Had to go get an education and talk to people and scratch and claw and sprinkle in a little groveling, get a program. Actually, it wasn't that tough. But I'm grateful. You, on the other hand, just simply call the number, 877-573-7825, 877-57-EQUAL. And you will be put onto the lines. You'll be speaking to Eric Dumont, call screamer, who today is doubling as a very bored operator, or just board operator. I don't know how he spells that. He spells it B-O-R-E-D. I think, Eric, it's supposed to be spelled B-O-A-R-D. Question about something in your life, circumstances, puzzling, perplexing, flummoxing. That's a good word, flummox. What a word. Do you ever notice that? Think about how funny words sound. Flummox. It's like you're sort of just burping. Listen to a foreign language, and you understand that what we take as language is really just sounds. Nothing but just sounds. And these sounds are all just attached to something. Well, I had a little difficulty in the office today. I had a guy came in last week, and he had this fear that there were monsters underneath his bed. And he had a hard time dealing with it. He just knew they weren't there, but yet at the same time his anxiety was ruling him. And he called me today. And he said, "You're too expensive. I got a cure for $10. I said, "Cure for $10? He goes, "Yeah, I'm fine now." "Who cured you for $10? He said, "My bartender." "Your bartender?" "Yeah, I told him about my problem. I told him I was seeing a therapist. I told him I was frustrated, scared of something being under my bed." "So how did he cure you?" "He told me cut the legs off the bed." Wish I'd have thought of that. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call to get onto the program. You never know what you thought was really, really bad and then doesn't turn out to be at all really, really bad. At the moment, it's a disappointment or it's a frustration or it can even feel devastating, but you can't predict the future about it. One of my most clear examples of this, I was a freshman at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. That was back when you could afford to go to Case Western Reserve. Credit hours, I think, were $2 an hour. Now they're $4,568 an hour or something like that. I took I think it was the SAT when I was a junior or senior. And the guidance counselor said, "Well, you scored pretty high on math. You ought to consider engineering as a career. Engineering. I always wanted to live in one of those cabooses. I really did. He said, no, you don't understand. Engineering is involved with a lot of mathematics, physics, kind of understanding. You can either build things or develop things, or chemically or electrical, mechanical. I said, well, engineering, okay, well, what's a good engineering school? He says, well, in our area, Case Western, Case Tech, Case Institute of Technology. That's a very high-ranked engineering school. Okay. Well, I'll see if I can get in. He goes, no, your scores are high enough. You'll get in. I go, okay. Engineering, here I come. I didn't know what I was doing. So at Case, the first year you had all the generic engineering courses. You just had to take it. You had to take Math 1 and 2, Physics 1 and 2. You had to take Chemistry. You had to take Computer. And at that time, the computer was this monstrous thing that sat inside this building that took up the whole wall. Anybody old enough to remember punch cards? I thought, okay, well, let's see how I do. Well, I was feeling pretty cocky, actually. At the end of my first semester, I did pretty good. Pretty nice grade point there. And the math, the calculus, and the physics, it didn't seem all that tough. The statistics, okay, I could do this. All right, maybe that guidance counselor was right. Second semester, still doing okay in mathematics. And then I ran into Physics 2. Physics 2 dealt with relativity and some of the more complex issues. Well, I had a midterm on Physics 2 that I studied for, but it seemed kind of tough. I remember thinking, I'm not sure I really solved these problems right. I was kind of lost at this. Well, maybe I did better than I think. You never know. I got the score back. It was 31. Now, this was on a 1 to 100% score. 31. That's pretty low. Matter of fact, middle school mathematics taught me that to recover from a 31 on my next test, and we only had one test left, to barely pass with a D, I'd have to score 132. Of course, not possible. So I was forced to drop the course. And then I fell behind in my engineering track, so to speak. And I started thinking, this is not good. This is not good. I didn't understand Physics 2 the first time around. What makes me think I'm going to understand it the second time around? And I kind of went into a little bit of a funk regarding my educational future. I thought I was going to be in engineering. That's just what I was gearing up to be. All right. Well, all right. Maybe I need to reconsider and get into something related to engineering. Psychology. Yeah, those are close. Uh-huh. So I did. And I thought, well, psychology, maybe that'll prepare me for law school. I have to go to law school. That's it. There's not very many lawyers out there, Wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I'll go to law school. I got into a special program at Case Western where your senior year you could get your master's degree. I thought, well, that'll make it more likely I'll get into law school by getting my master's degree. Master's in psychology. All right, pretty cool. So my first year, graduate school psychology, I thought, this is kind of neat here. What if I went on? I mean, if I graduate now, I got to go work. Ooh. Maybe I'll just be a student until Social Security. So I went to grad school. Became a psychologist. Looking back on it, it's really a good thing I got a 31 in Physics 2. It blew me out of engineering. Had I not, I probably would have stayed in engineering, not really understanding or knowing all that I'm getting into. I would have been in it. And gone into my sophomore year at engineering, I'd have had to declare a particular engineering direction. I wanted to be a conductor. I didn't want to be the guy that shoveled coal. Shows you my level of understanding of engineering. But I look back on that 31, and I thought at the time, major, major disappointment. Hurdle, obstacle, educational, flailing. And it turned out to be the first step towards psychology. Had no idea. Now, that would make a difference for you, too. Because think about it. You'd be listening to this show, and you wouldn't hear anybody. Because I wouldn't be here. Because I wouldn't be a psychologist. And then I wouldn't get a chance to be on Catholic media. I don't know what I'd be doing. Maybe I'd be designing your bridge. Might not be something you want to drive over. I guess the lesson is, where you can reserve judgment, you don't know. You can't know how the future will evolve in what you thought was a major life negative. Always remember my Physics 31. Vector. 877-573-7825. 877-57-equal. That's the number to call to get onto the program. I'd be delighted to talk to you. Give me a call. Thank you.
Underwritten in part by the following nonprofit.
Do you feel as though life is flying past you? Are you desperate for a way to find moments of peace and quiet? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian prayer series, will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
I've always loved to write. It never seemed like work. I used to carry a little notebook around as a little girl and write poems and stories. I later discovered that one of my charisms is writing, so the fact that it brings me such joy is no longer a surprise to me. When my clients struggle with communicating a message or they dread having a conversation with someone, I always suggest they write their thoughts first. I even recommend dialoguing a conversation they anticipate having with someone in order to gain clarity about what they want to communicate. Don't worry about the spelling and grammar, just write down your thoughts. There's a ton of research that shows the benefits of journaling and writing things down. Few people write personal notes to each other anymore. I love it when I receive a handwritten letter or note in the mail. There's something very personal about it. Journaling can be meditative, a way to pray and dialogue with God. Writing gives us clarity, and in the written word, we see God speak. This has been a Christ Center Communication Message. I'm Vanessa Denha-Garmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
Experience a once-in-a-lifetime evening of sacred music at the second annual St. Patrick Mozart Festival, Sunday, June 7th at 5 p.m. Hear Mozart's Coronation Mass and a rare Michael Haydn cantata in its North American premiere, performed by the St. Patrick's Lorica Choir, soloists, and orchestra, all at St. Patrick's in White Lake, conducted by Konstantin Novotny. Suggested donation at $20. For more information, go to stpatrickwhitelake.org.
Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor Is In. I appreciate your company. I got a couple of announcements I want to make here. Let me see how I do this. Okay, I got a new phone. I got to figure out how do you search. Go that way there. Put that there. It says I probably should push on the search there, right? Okay, let's see what that says. I've got that. Voicemail. Live read. Family events. There we go. I got to talk. Got some congratulations to do today. Where's this at? Oh, okay. Holy Family Radio, WLCR. All right. Audio, that just left me. Where it is. Holy Family Radio. Been down there. WLCR AM and FM. Serving Louisville, Kentucky. 27 years. One of the granddaddies. Oh, I probably should say grand persons with us. Congratulations, Vince. Vince Heiser, the team at Holy Family Radio. Very, very nice. 27 years anniversary. You guys were on the air before I got around here. That's for sure. Okay, I got to make sure that I'm going to pronounce this name correctly. Caller from Washington, please tell me. You tell me how to pronounce your name.
Oh, hi, Dr. Ray. Thank you so much. I was new to listen to the program about a year or two, and I knew to know about you because the more I listen to the Sacred Heart Radio, it just drawn me to listen more and more, and then your program, it just attract me with, and it gave me so much of discern about how to keep my family going and give me a lot of courage. I was suffering from my family. It's been 2 years since I have 3 kids. Thank you so much for taking my call again. I cannot say thank you enough. And today I take courage because after I read your book, I purchased the one, How to Get Along with Almost Everyone. And I purchased the one, How Discipline That Lasts for a Lifetime. And now for myself, I'm trying to read the book, Living Calm. So today I have a really anxious. I've been praying, go to Mass to pray for the answer, but I think I'm going to talk to you right now. It's going to give me a lot of courage because I need to make decision in about a week. I'm just to be brief that I have 3 kids. One is become a PT 2 years ago, and he married and he had the first child. And he and his wife, along with my second daughter, who already married, and her husband, that not like and decide that they announce that they are no longer have anything to do with my third daughter boyfriend, because first of all, years ago they're all getting along very well. I thought it's a happy family and everything.
Well, let me help you along here. So you've got 3 older kids. Are both of the older kids saying, we don't want to have anything to do with the younger daughter's boyfriend? Is that what they're saying?
Yes, because 4 of them is Vietnamese, the same with us. The youngest one, he is Mexican. So 4 of them thinking the different culture, this and that. For some reason, on the bachelor party, there was something that is not getting along. And then
you're younger. I'm going to have to hurry you along here, dear, because I don't want you to bump up against a break. Your younger daughter is engaged to this guy, correct?
No, she's not engaged yet. She's just dating the guy for about 2.5 years, 3 years now.
Now, this whole time, let me jump in here. I want to get to the crux of it. The whole time, the 2 older siblings and their families have basically cut contact with her and her boyfriend.
They say yes, no more. We have nothing to do with the guy because there's a lot of things happen.
Okay,
and I don't think
so
we have
it isn't the fact that he's a different culture. They don't like him personally.
Not because of that, because of their interaction happened in one day of the bachelor party of my son.
Mom, what do they want you to do about it?
No, I said just because 3 of them no longer talking together. Just the first 2 of my kids were 4 of them was really get along and here in Seattle. But because my daughter, the youngest, moved to Texas to live with her boyfriend, and we are Catholic. I'm not approved that, but she does it anyway. It broke my heart, and I cannot do anything except praying for her. She's selling from the church a little bit, but now she started kind of not offense clearly anymore. The boyfriend was baptized, but never practiced because.
Okay, so I want to focus. I want to focus on this here. So are you asking, how do I make these older siblings soften in their attitude toward her? Is that the question?
Yes, and also this week, my daughter asked me to come over to stay with her for when her boyfriend go to outside the country because of job. And I was, he was not like our family since that happened. He told me,
okay,
your family.
You know what? Here we're getting into a ton of details here, and it's getting really hard to keep track of them all. What I would suggest is that you talk to these older kids, hoping they'll let you talk to them, and ask them, do they think this is a good thing? Now, you're saying that you're Catholic, so I'm assuming they're Catholic, which means them writing off their sister is wrong. So ask them. You say she's not being a good Catholic because she's living with her boyfriend. Okay. But are you being a good Catholic because you've decided you're just going to cut her out of your life? Ask them that.
They cut just the boyfriend. They said, you always have a chair in this family. The thing is, because they cut his boyfriend.
Well, then she's not going to see them either. If they've cut out her boyfriend, then she's not going to be around him either, correct?
But exactly. She said, if you don't welcome my boyfriend, I'm not going to be here with you. So that tortured me, and for them, I know that underneath, they say you always have a chair in the family. But they also...
Well, practically speaking, she doesn't have a chair in the family. Because as long as she's with this guy, they're telling her, yeah, we accept you, but we don't accept him. And she's saying, well, if you don't accept him, then you don't accept me. That's where it's at. So as a mom, you got one of two options here. One, recognize you can do nothing about it. That's one. Or two, you sit down with the two older ones and keep them together, everybody together, kind of a family meeting. You sit down and you say, okay, let's get to the bottom of this. What do you think is going to happen if you continue to say, we don't want any part of him, and therefore you're cutting your sister out? What do you think is going to happen 2 years, 4 years, 5 years from now? Are you saying that you will never have a relationship with your sister? Are you saying that if she marries him, that then you'll be okay? But the problem with that is, and you can point this out to them, that all these years of them basically cutting both the sister and the boyfriend out of their lives, if they do get married, the boyfriend probably is going to say, hey, look, you didn't want to have anything to do with me then, so I don't care if you have anything to do with me now. So what they're doing is they're kind of making it more difficult for their sister to maybe head toward marriage, because she'll be starting off with a bad relationship with her siblings. So that's what I would suggest. I'm going to have to let you go, honey. I'm way past break. I'm going to have to let you go. But thank you so much for the call, and I thank you for the very kind words at the very top of your call. 877-573-7825. 877-573-7825. Once again, I want to congratulate, for 15 years, Catholic Radio Network there, homed in Bloomington, Illinois, and the 15th anniversary dinner that they invited me to was in Normal, and I jumped at the chance of that. And I don't think they realized that as a psychologist, for my opportunity to speak in Normal, I probably wouldn't have charged them. Probably wouldn't have. But I was under the impression it was in Bloomington. It's kind of a flowery sort of thing, and I'm kind of a guy, so, 877-573-7825, 877-57-EQUAL. Sure want to hear from you. Thanks for the call. Dr. Ray, what is the biggest lie that you tell yourself? I think that would be... Oh, I don't have to write that down. I'll remember it. Yeah, that'd be it. That'd be the biggest lie. Second is that the dryer is shrinking my clothes, and I realize that's not what is causing my clothes to shrink. It's refrigerator. 877-573-7825. 877-57 equal is the number to call if you'd like to call now. Got plenty of time to get on. It's just at the very bottom of the show. We have a lot of lines, and I would welcome your calls or your comments about helpful situations for somebody else, or your insights about life, or something in psychology or faith as it interacts with psychology, or the culture that perplexes you, bothers you, gives you pause. Not like dog paws. Pause. Well, you heard about that, the three-legged dog that walked into a bar. Said, I'm here, trying to find the man who shot my paw. Okay, sorry. 877-57 equal is the number. You will talk first to Eric Dumont. My Physics 231 score set me on my way to becoming a psychologist. And as I said, at the time, I thought it was a devastating setback. And actually, it was a set forward. Because without it, I probably would have hung around in engineering a while longer, and then who knows what my future in psychology would have been. I think, probably a more intense example of not being able to predict the future on the basis of something that's happened that you think can overwhelm your ability to cope. Expectant parents, especially first-time nervous expectant parents, have a mix of anticipation and a mix of anxiety, nervousness about could things go wrong? Could there be birth complications? What about developmental problems? I don't know if I could cope. No, most of the time, especially with modern medicine, most of the time, babies come through well and thriving. Not so in human history. Not so at all in human history. It's much more common that birth was a scary, sketchy time, and it was a risk to the woman too. But let's say that expectant parents give birth to their little one, and there are significant developmental issues. Maybe trisomy 21. Maybe anoxia, which can cause all kinds of cerebral issues, motoric issues. It's all manner of birth complications that could happen. Unfortunately, they're relatively uncommon, but they could happen. Especially with a child born with Down syndrome. Is that trisomy 21 or trisomy 23? I used to know the number on that. I've heard many parents, when they were given the diagnosis that their baby has Down syndrome, they were just shook, major upset. Not that they weren't grateful for the life that God has given them, but more or less struggling for their own ability to cope with this, their own ability to handle it, the demands, etc. And their anticipation of being able to go through the childhood process in a relatively standard development. It's not unusual for me to talk to parents multiple years later, or even parents who presently have a 9-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old child with Down syndrome, saying when it first was clear to us this is what was happening, this is what is going on with our child, we were just clobbered, emotionally clobbered. This child is the light of our family. I never realized what a blessing this child would be. Beautiful personality, very loving, very caring. In some respects, the easiest to raise of our children. And I'll ask, did you ever anticipate that? No. What's the lesson you take from that? We had no idea. We had no idea that what we thought was going to be a major life hurdle has turned out to come with so many positives and blessings. Not downplaying the challenges of raising a kid who develops much more slowly and has a ceiling, perhaps, depending upon the penetration of the genetic problems, but not downplaying that. But the fact that they didn't gauge, didn't realize, couldn't look ahead far enough to see what the outcome would be. I look back over my own life, and so often the stuff that I thought was a major disappointment, or didn't go the way I wanted it to go, or I didn't get the job that I wanted to get, or something happened that I thought was a major hurdle, turned out in time to push me in another direction that was much better. A small example. Well, I'll talk about it afterward. The number to get onto the program is 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL. That is the number. And that setback, not just with the Physics 231 score that pushed me toward psychology, but that setback came apart for me over many disappointments, and ultimately led me to Catholic media. I went through a period where I thought, well, this isn't going to happen. Obviously. And I'm getting older, getting past the youthful prime that might be good for television. And I don't understand why all this has fallen through. I'll share that with you momentarily, but I still have time for calls. And it is quiet. I just want to tell you, a lot of people don't call because they say they can't get through. Well, you can get through now. 877-573-7825. 877-57-EQUAL is the number to call. I'd be delighted to hear from you. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor's In. Dr. Ray Guarendi. Gregory, I'll be with you in a second. I just want to finish up the thought there that I was having. I can embellish it on a future monologue. For the longest time, I did secular media. Did a lot of the secular shows. I was Oprah many times, CBS This Morning, Jenny Jones, just many television shows. And the producers would ask me, some of them, do you have your own show? And I said, no, I don't. I'm not hosting a show. They said, well, you should. You seem to have a bent for this. I said, well, I'd like that. I was always one of my career dreams to have my own program. I never thought about radio. I was always thinking about television. Well, it never happened. And as I got older, I thought, well, okay, that's a disappointment, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to be my career dream. Well, because of that, though, because I had the chance all those years to get the feel for television, get the feel for radio even, because I must have done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of radio interviews. All secular, pretty much all secular. I honed some skills at it. And I'm not saying I'm great at it. I'm just simply saying I got experience. When the opportunity for Catholic radio came up, I was shocked. What? Hosting my own show? I always thought that was a gone-away goal. And then television. When I approached EWTN for an idea with a television show, I had enough of television experience that I got the opportunity. So all those years of disappointments and saying, I guess it's not going to happen, just another example of it not going to happen. And we even tried. We even approached a number of places and did tests, and they went well. But, yeah, that world is a very unpredictable world. You know, this person got fired or that person left or this thing didn't come through. And I thank God that he allowed me to be where I never thought I'd be on Catholic media. Greg's calling. Greg, it's an interesting question. What's up?
So I was just kind of curious on your thoughts. I've had, or I've many times been sort of a peacemaker between generational differences, between those commonly called boomers from the booming generation and those who are, I guess, more millennial, and then a little after. And I know the internet loves to stir up division between the two, but I do notice from just my personal experience, they view the world very differently, and being caught kind of in the middle, I don't necessarily understand both forms of the way they look at things. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts on why they in particular, boomers and millennials, seem to butt heads so violently.
Well, this is a continuation of the old generational, well, you know, these kids nowadays, that wasn't that way when I was a kid, I'll tell you that right now. These kids are this way and that way, and I was not this way and that way. So there's some of that always there. I think it's exaggerated now, Greg, because technology, the internet, the media can swamp you in the way you think. I'm a boomer, and I grew up at a time, in many respects, very different than now. Morality was different across the culture, at least as it displayed itself. For example, when I was a kid, I don't think I had one divorced child in any of my classrooms growing up. Now it's routine. It's very different. So speaking as a quote-unquote boomer, which again is a gross generalization, even though somebody can be called a boomer, that doesn't say what they are, who they are. It doesn't. But we do this because we try to condense a whole lot of diverse data into one word. He's a boomer. Now, what does that mean? So there are certain characteristics that are generalities among generations. The millennials, which is that younger generation up to about, say, age 35, were raised in a very different time. I mean, in terms of material, in terms of entertainment, in terms of opportunities, in terms of education, they had more. My mom graduated third in her class in high school. She did not go to college. Most of the women that she was with didn't go to college. She graduated third. My mom was of that generation. My uncles went to college, but there were very few of my aunts and uncles that went to college. A couple of them. That's it. Well, now it's very, very different. People are shaped according to the culture of their time. The boomer culture was more religious in the sense that it proclaimed religion. It seemed to have more of an influence in their lives. The millennial culture's pretty much starting to drift from religion as they're being shaped by the cultural generation of their time. So you're right. I would say if you're the bridge, deal with the personality of the individual. Whether the boomer has a disdain for others not of his or her generation, whether the millennial is a spoiled brat, whatever it might be that particular person is, you deal with that. You don't deal with the generalities. That's my thoughts.
All right.
All right, what
Thank
are
you very
you?
much.
Are you a boomer?
No, I'm closer to a millennial.
All right. Closer to, in other words, you're past 34 for 35.
Just barely.
Just barely. All right.
So I had a bunch of older siblings. So I had a foot in the 80s, and then a lot of my friends were in the 90s. So I had a foot in the 90s. And it's given me kind of a wider view of the world, but one that's limited, because every now and again I'll bump into something and I'll be like, I have no idea why you thought it that way. Like, how did you totally misunderstand that?
Well, you're exactly right, because the culture has incredible shaping power like never before. Never before. Mostly in human history, the way we were shaped, our families, our clan, our tribe, maybe a small environment. Now the culture shapes you. It really does. And it carries attitudes and beliefs and ideas, morality, if you will, if you want to call it that is very powerful in the way it shapes you. You know, you look at the boomers, they're much more likely to be religious, all right? The Gen Z are the least religious. So 2 generations later, they've shed an awful lot of religion. Okay, that's a statistic you can't argue with. So you're right.
Yeah.
The generations are shaped. And what's happening now, Greg, is that the shaping is very, very powerful, and it's pervasive. And as a psychologist, I'll tell you, I'm stunned at the ability. Well, small example. I'll get off it real quick here because I take a quick break. 60 years ago, the people who in our culture that would have said abortion is okay were a small minority. We are now at a point in our culture where not only is it maybe 50-50, but among the ones who say it's okay, more and more of them are saying it's okay all the way to the baby being born. That was inconceivable, no pun intended, 60 years ago, that a baby being born could have its skull crushed and its limbs ripped off. But that's the shaping power of the culture. So yeah, it's that to me is a categorical example of how powerful it is to thinking. Greg, thank you. I appreciate you letting me pontificate. All right, got some calls up there. I got to take a quick break. I'll try to get to you. This is Dr. Ray.
Beacon Skin and Surgeries is a comprehensive dermatology center on the border of Troy and Rochester Hills, south of M59 and in Livonia. Beacon Skin and Surgeries perform full skin exams and focus on the diagnosis and treatment of all types of skin cancer and precancerous lesions. All are board-certified dermatologists and fellowship-trained surgeons. Call 248-852-1900. Beacon Skin and Surgeries, a beacon for patient care. 248-852-1900.
When she walked into the office, we saw immediately that her left hand was completely bandaged. She soon explained that it had been badly cut when her boyfriend had come at her with a butcher knife, and she had used that hand to block the knife thrust. Many women have come to our office bearing the bruises and scratches of a domestic quarrel, but I'd never heard of a situation in which the intent so clearly was to kill. Yet, to tell the objective truth, many of the mothers whom we have helped have also been tempted to take the knife to another human being, in an act called officially not domestic violence or murder, but abortion. And so we tell our mothers, whatever abuse you have received does not justify the abuse you are considering passing on. Take the way of holiness. Be the Christ in that moment. Be the one who translates an act of violence into an act of love. GuadalupeWorkers.org.
Ave Maria in the Afternoon is underwritten by the following nonprofit organization: Real Estate for Life. Buying or selling your home or business property? Real Estate for Life can connect you with one of 1,400 pro-life real estate agents around the world. When Real Estate for Life receives a referral fee, they donate 70% to Ave Maria Radio and Human Life International. More information at realestateforlife.org or 877-LIFE-US1. That's realestateforlife.org.
get to it. Joan from California. Hi, Joan.
Dr. Ray, how are you?
I'm fine, dear. Your husband committed suicide 18 years ago.
Yes, he did.
Whoa, boy.
Well, so I just kind of wanted you to enlighten me a little bit. Like, I at the time and even ever afterward, I never thought it was my fault. I mean, there was just a lot. I'm sure you know how a lot there is in a situation like that. And we tried a lot of things. He was hospitalized once. We went to counseling. He quit. Didn't want to take medication. Didn't want to go back. And, we did what we could. So it wasn't my fault. But at times I wonder, like, just generally speaking, like as a wife, okay, as a wife, husbands and wives aren't perfect. And they do, maybe they're not as kind as they should be in situations. How much, if any, does that play a part in someone? Like, does it, like, I guess, I mean, I know we did everything we could, but is there something I missed? Is that what I'm asking you? Is there something I missed in that situation?
Oh, Joan. That could be the main reason people blame themselves. As they look at it, they can't settle in peace and say, no, I did the very best I could, given what I do at the time.
Well, I did.
Okay. Now, see, you said that. Okay, but then the creeping, nagging. Well,
yes.
I might have missed something. How do you know what you missed if you don't know you missed it? That's what always boggles my... Parents do this all the time. All the time. They got some kid screwing up his life when he's 26 years old. What did we miss? What did we miss? He left the face. What did we miss? You know what you missed? I'm going to tell you what you did wrong, Joan. Right now, this is the one thing that you did when you were married, and you can't do anything about it. You ready?
Okay. Yes.
You were human.
Yes.
Let's say you say to yourself, well, I could have been a better wife. Okay. You could have been a better wife. Now what?
Actually, I don't think I could have been a better wife.
Okay, that's good.
A very good wife.
So we don't have to mess with that one. And you look at it and you said, I did everything I could to try to get him past the flailings in his life, and he just didn't cooperate.
Yes. That's right.
So for you to look and say, well, but I've done something. Okay, I got a question for you here. Do you think Jesus missed something?
How you mean?
Well, they killed him. Maybe he missed something. You think? That he maybe could have talked differently, or maybe not said what he said. Maybe a couple more miracles here and there. You think?
Yeah, no. I know what you're saying, Dr. I'm just getting older, right? So now I'm like pushing 80, and you think, okay, I'm going to meet everybody when I die. I just want to make sure I'm good with all of it, right?
The thing you got to be good with, my dear, is with our Lord. That's what you got to be good with. We can all look back on our life and say, I could have done some things differently. Hey, welcome to the club. Right. Welcome to the club.
I've just been wanting to ask you that for a long time, and just wanted to get your thoughts on it. So I do appreciate what you're saying. So
this is the old. What if I missed something? That tortures more people. Oh man! Matter of fact, I'm dealing with that. I'm writing a new book, and I call it past what ifing. Well, what if I would have done this? Well, what if I would have done that? Well, yeah, you can't know what if because you didn't do that.
That's right. Yeah, maybe I got to get that book. Put it on audio. Are your books on tape?
Some of them are, yeah. Several of them are. I think the thinking like
you did this thing about how you read it and how hard it was to read the thing. Yeah, I remember that.
Thinking Like Jesus was on tape, and Jesus the Master Psychologist on tape. How to Get Along with Almost Everybody on tape. Okay, not tape. Thanks.
Good.
It's downloadable. That's what I mean. Joan, bless you. Thank you, honey. Thank you for your honesty. Quick trip to Laura. Here's the deal. They're moving, and they don't know what's going to happen in this move. Right, Laura?
Well, my husband's 100%, and I'm still 50. And I have not dealt well with any move. But this one is not, it's our choice. It's all the other ones were necessary.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's your choice. It sounds like it's your husband's choice, but not totally yours.
Right. And I just feel like we're leaving a mostly ideal situation to go to a situation that could end up being ideal, but in my mind, it is not. And there's pros and cons, and you know, mostly we're doing this for the sake of our souls. Like, we just feel like that's where things.
That's a pretty big pro, Laura. That's a pretty big pro.
It is, but it's not possible here.
Well, it's not. But
be more uncomfortable for me.
Well, here's something. Here's something.
Keep going.
If you say, okay, I'm weighing this all out, and I'm thinking that's the move to make, although there could be downsides to it. Okay.
Oh, we're making it. The decision's made. It's in the works.
Oh, all right. Well, call me back.
And I know there's going to be downsides. I know people from there.
Well, the downside is you called me. That's one of the big downsides. You had to call me. All right.
I start breathing quickly.
I got to run. I know. Call me, please. We're going to get cut off. I got to run. This is Dr. Ray. Walk with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor Is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.